I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on the coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. Johnny looks up at the stars. Johnny combs his hair and Johnny wants to see in cars. Johnny's in America. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. Yeah, I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the worst. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. God is an American. 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 God is an American.
Hope everybody's doing well today. Welcome to another episode of Spirit of Truth Conservatives, episode 4. Here with me is my esteemed co-host and brother in Christ, Freedom Captives. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hello.
FTC.
Doing good.
Doing good, bruh? Doing good?
Yeah, bro. Doing good.
So today we're going to discuss the conservatives, the ones who should be conserving the way, our way of life, the ones who claim that they believe in Jesus Christ, ones that claim that they believe in Christian values, the ones that claim that believe that they are pro-life, and maybe they're not who people think they are.
In God we trust. What God? Which God? Which God?
Which God are they talking about, Frida Captives? Are they talking about The God of Abraham? They talking about Jesus Christ? Are they talking about the one true God? Are they talking about their little lower G's or lesser gods? The worship of money, the worship of mammon, greed.
The altar of greed. Yes.
The almighty dollar, as they say. But these people are supposed to stand against that. You know, they're supposed to be our guys, right, FTC? They're supposed to be the ones that have great morals and speak from the high pulpits. But are they really? And look, I get it. We do live in these sinful, fleshy bodies. But do these people really strive against the flesh? Do they try to commune with the Spirit? The Holy Spirit, that is. Do they try to do any of those things that we're called to be Christians? You know, study the Word. Live outward lives as Christians. Don't worship false idols or people who proclaim themselves to be Jesus. Many of these conservatives claim they do those things, but they do not. Right, Freedom Captives?
It's I don't see them quoting scriptures very much, or living scriptures very much. No. It's like their deeds. They do in their deeds they deny him.
Yes.
Is a Bible quote, I believe.
Yes. And that's what they do. I mean, as the first slide we have in our presentation, it is the coat of arms of the Fabian Society. The wolf in sheep's clothing, which are many what these conservatives are. They're not who they say they are to any of the conservatives or the Christians that are watching the stream. The people that they claim that they're trying to conserve your values or have your values, or that they believe in Jesus Christ. Fabian socialism is soft socialism. It is the gradual reform of democracy into a socialist society instead of being a revolutionary type brought into socialism or communism like you see with the Bolshevik Revolution. Fabianism is to put the frog in a pot of cold water and slowly turn up the heat so the frog does not know it is being boiled and being cooked. And that's what's really going on with conservatism. Because instead of actually doing what they say they claim they're supposed to do and conserve our way of life, they're just Fabian socialists who conserve anything. We're going to talk about that in the stream today. You got anything to say?
No. Let's get into it.
Let's do it!
Yee.
So conservatives, the hidden right. Do you ever wonder why Republicans are in power in D.C.? None of our way of life in America is conserved, or that nothing gets done for which we elect representatives to accomplish. Roe v. Wade is not repealed, and likely never will be. Our Bill of Rights continues to be infringed. Uncontrolled spending through the roof. Wars and rumors of wars constantly emerge. Crimes of the highest order still occur by mostly everyone within the higher levels of our government. A hidden right exists. It's called Fabian socialism. Some of its numerous think tanks include the Heritage Foundation, the John Birch Society, the Council for National Policy, and La Cercle. The Fabian Society was a British socialist organization whose purpose is to advance the principles of democratic socialism via gradualist and reformist effort in democracies, rather than be revolutionary overthrow. The conservatives at the top want socialism as well, but instead of them being more overt like the left side of the world order, or the globalists, they're covert in their actions to bring us into their version of a one-world government. We are like frogs in a pot that is slowly heated up to a boil when the conservatives are in power. Do you want me to continue? Free captives, do you have anything to say about that?
No, continue. Continue, sir.
The Council for National Policy was founded in 1981. It has been involved in Iran-Contra, the Franklin scandal, the Latin American Civil War and death squads during the 1980s, the Promise Software scandal, 9/11, the election of Donald Trump, and more. The CNP is Fabian socialists. They act like they care about conservative values, but behind the scenes, they mock them. The CNP was said to hope they will gain influence, much as they believe liberals have through such organizations as the Council on Foreign Relations. I believe the CNP has gained as much influence as the CFR, if not more. CNP founding member Woody Jenkins once said to the press, "I predict one day before the end of this century, the CNP will be so influential that no president, regardless of party or philosophy, will be able to ignore us or our concerns or shut us out of the highest levels of government." Many of the conservatives that we mentioned today are either CNP or have direct ties to them.
It's the right hand, or the right wing of the two-winged bird. The phoenix from the ashes, man.
Man. I mean, it's where we're at with all this, right? You know what I mean? It's sad but true. I mean, you know, both you and I have what would be considered right-leaning beliefs, you know, Rich, as Christian conservatives, if you want to label us. But these people are not doing. It's like dangling a carrot in front of a horse, with all the Christian conservatives who want Roe versus Wade repealed, but these people don't want that. They're just constantly putting it in front of you. It'll never happen. Never happen.
It's just in name only, basically. They're not. They don't mean it. It's not deep into their hearts, and they don't act out what they proclaim to believe.
No, not at all. They do not. So Left Behind is not biblical. Tim LaHaye was a founding member of the Council for National Policy, a supporter of Sun Myung Moon, and was an ardent Zionist. Here's Jesse Spots breaking down why Left Behind is not biblical.
Moses and Aaron, the spirit of Pharaoh, Moses and Aaron are fulfilling the quest that's given them by the Father, by God. And Pharaoh, through his stubbornness and through his spiritual blindness, is brought to shame. He brings himself to his own shame. How many plagues are brought upon Egypt? How many, the firstborn children, right? Frogs in the sky, blood, curse upon curse is brought upon these people because the leader of the land, the spiritual leader, a man who does not believe in monotheism, a man who believes in a pantheon of gods, of pagan gods, he refuses to listen to Moses. He even has his own little carnies who perform tricks, making a mockery of Aaron, making a mockery of Moses, right? Spiritual blindness. The story of Pharaoh is a story about the principality of stubbornness. So I would, first of all, if you're struggling with stubbornness in your life, you are dealing with the spirit of Pharaoh, by the way. But more than that, broadly, you're dealing with spiritual blindness, a type of being cut off. And this phenomenon can be traced in the strangest circles, like places where you wouldn't expect it to be. Men who are proud about prophecy, men who have they've made their bed for how the story would unfold. There are men who have formed camps. They've claimed a little small fortune for themselves, or they've claimed their own church, their own congregation, and they said, aha, here's what the Bible says, and here's how the Bible says it will happen. We have Hollywood movies, or independent movies, telling us, showing us, working us over on our anticipation, saying, here's what the Bible says will happen. Carousel. Hey guys, I found a carousel in one of the Left Behind movies. Shocker. Shocker, right? But this movie is about our side. This movie is about the Christians. Why would there be an occult symbol in a Christian film? Satan knows the story as well. Satan has access to the word. It's your understanding. It's your willpower. Right? Are you signing up for these demonic contracts? Are you being tempted? It's endlessly frustrating, guys. Satan is a gym. I know that cheapens it every time I say it, but I mean, it's true. Satan is a piece of resistance hardware. You have got to resist Satan at every level. Oh man, you know what the Bible says? There'll be one in the field. There'll be one who goes with the rapture and one who stays behind. Oh man, can you imagine being left behind? What if that happened on an airplane? Suddenly the plane is... Right? So everybody's imagining what it's going to look like. Everybody's, they're hedging their bets. Sadly, so many of us, we're becoming survivalists. We're going off grid. I don't blame people for going off grid, but look how many people are writing screenplays about it. This is very odd, right? That we can write screenplays, guesstimating how it will look. And I'm not gonna sit here and speculate about the makers of this film, but there is a built-in assumption here of man, those selfish Christians, how dare the pilot be a Christian who was saved? How irresponsible of him to fly an airplane during the rapture. Because now Nicolas Cage has to figure out how to fly an airplane. You Christians, you unrighteous God.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse's spot on about this, especially when you look into the timetable of a pre-tribulation rapture, and who many of the Christians in the CMP, many ministers, many people that we covered in the New Apostolic Reformation as well, freed captives. It's very interesting that Tim LaHaye has, pushed forth, among many of those people, pushed forth the pre-tribulation rapture. And then the movie Left Behind in and of itself, Jesse broke it down spot on here. What do you got to say about it?
Yeah, it's terribly, terribly irresponsible for people to be Christians, obviously, right? You're leaving all these people, taking responsibility for yourself towards God. How dare you? Right? I like the point he's making about that, right? How dare you actually live and exist? As a Christian, the nerve, right? They're trying to shame and guilt us all the time. And another point he made is people going off grid. And I was having a discussion with my friend about this lately, and it's you really can't. There's nowhere to hide if you're going to go off grid. So it's if you're ever going to stand up and say anything, now is the time to do it, because there's no running from the New World Order. But yeah, Jesse makes some great points for sure.
Yes, he does. So now we're going to discuss Sung Mung Moon, false prophet, physical embodiment of the spirit of Python. The
Young.
Reverend, quotation marks there, Sung Mung Moon was a Korean evangelicist, businessman, and self-proclaimed messiah. Moon founded the Unification Church, which had numerous ties to the United States and Korea and CIA. Many conservatives and members of the Council for National Policy either worked directly for the Moonies or promoted their ideology. Mr. Moon courted world leaders, financed newspapers, and founded numerous civic organizations. In 2004, for example, he had himself crowned humanity's savior in front of Congress at a Capitol Hill luncheon, in front of all the senators and everything else. Oh boy! In the Unification Church's view, Jesus had failed his mission to purify mankind because he was crucified before being able to marry and have children. Mr. Moon saw himself as completing the unfulfilled task of Jesus, to restore humankind to a state of perfection by producing sinless children and by blessing couples who would produce them. Yeah.
Yikes.
So here is a Unification Church mass wedding clip from ABC News.
Would you let your parents pick your spouse? How about your religious leader? For members of one controversial movement, marriage is part of their Messiah's grand vision. Dutiful couples pair off thousands at a time, and a bride shares her most intimate day with 2,000 other brides, while the all-night scramble for hair and makeup is just the beginning of the challenges ahead. 2,000 couples arriving at a stadium outside Seoul, South Korea for a mass wedding. Some have known each other for just months. Others for only a few days. She literally forgot her husband's name. These are young members of the Unification Movement, sometimes derisively referred to as the Moonies, after their founder, Reverend Sun Myung Moon, though it's a name the church now rejects. These mass weddings started in the 60s, inciting massive controversy.
We need to warn young people to stay away from it.
With critics claiming that followers broke away from their families to join the new religion. Now the children of the original followers, the first ever born into the church, make up the majority of those marrying here today. Among them, Glenn and fiancée Julie.
I want to be like a little bit different. I want to stand out.
We met them 2 months before, shopping for Glenn's wedding suit at a local mall in New Jersey.
It looked like if I had a second neck.
It looks good. It looks good.
Julie, you like the little X's on the bottom?
Julie, an aspiring artist from Canada, flew to New Jersey to meet Glenn after they were matched by their parents.
No.
They'd never laid eyes on each other before. Glenn, who's the lead singer of an indie band, struggled for a while with his parents' faith.
What was it like growing up in the Unification Church?
It was great, but it also posed a lot of like troubles and issues. People call it a cult, so you're like very afraid that people are gonna view you negatively.
Reverend Moon's central vision? To unify the world through multicultural marriages. Glenn's parents chose Julie for their son from a church database.
How do you explain that concept to the outside world?
Sometimes I feel a little bit self-conscious.
I mean, to me, this sounds a little wackadoodle for you captives. I mean, this is arranged marriage divined by the Reverend Sung Mung Moon, who believes he's Jesus. It's so stupid.
And there's Matthew 24, verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And there's so many different like cults out there, like calling themselves the second coming of Christ, but just proves out this verse right there. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ.
Yeah, I mean, I
shall
hope
deceive many.
I hope it works out for these kids. You know, I hope they're okay. I mean,
I hope they leave the cult.
yeah, me too. I hope they reject the heresy and find Jesus. That's Let's continue.
But it's nice that they get to be a part of such a big decision in my life.
Unlike Glenn and Jubilee, who've had time to get to know each other, Romina, who's from Albania, has never met her fiancé before, even though she'll be marrying him in less than a week.
In our movement, we really think and feel deeply that marriage is not just for my sake and for my personal attraction, but it's something bigger, something that can bring the world together if we really want to commit ourselves.
How do you feel? Nervous.
Yeah, it's just we got more clips to play. It's in the presentation if you want to watch the full thing, but that's just Lee Veltman in the chat. Shout out to Lee. Wednesdays, John and Lee show, 8 p.m. Moon believes that he is the Buddha Maitreya, aka Jesus and the Buddha as one. Yes, Moon did say that Buddha told him to seek the unification of world's religions. So, yeah.
It's just crazy that, you know, high up politicians will actually give these people the time of day.
Oh, we're about to see it.
Crazy.
We're about to see it because Moon went to prison, according to the CMP, because of his religious beliefs. I mean, I thought it was because tax fraud, but just me. Just me. So why don't we play them giving a God-infrequent banquet back during the 1980s and count how many CMPers we can see. And look how much the conservative Christians revered Sung Mung Moon, the man who said that Jesus Christ failed his mission on the cross and that he himself is Jesus. And he will put perfect marriages together to bring about sinless children upon the world.
We do want you to get acquainted. We're going to try and give you an opportunity of saying hello to as many people as you can. But if you could, it would help us if you'd go ahead and take your seats now, not the waiters. I'm going to ask at this time, let's see what we're supposed to be doing here. Does anyone know? I'm going to ask Representative Robert Forey and Representative Dieter Bayer from the state of Idaho to come, if they would, please. They have a very special presentation to Reverend Moon from the Northwest Civic Leaders. Gentlemen, if you...
Look at all those conservatives. Look at that whole dinner panel. Look at all them. Look! Look! It's ridiculous.
You might as well have like a Carrot Top performing or something.
I mean, this is this is ridiculous. Freedom captives, for these people to think that the CMP are Christian. And look, I'm not saying that everyone within the you have dupes within the Council for National Policy that are Christian who just believe better for their organization. Do not get me wrong here when I say that. But to say the many elite members, you know, the people that rushed to Moon's defense or took money from Moon, like Tim LaHaye, the author of Left Behind series, you know, that we played the clip from Jesse earlier, Jerry Falwell, you know, signing a petition protesting the government's case and spoke in defense of Moon. Yeah, you know, it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's some heavy mojo that they can't see this.
If you will, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Sills. America's in a great deal of trouble today, and some of us elected officials up in the Northwest sense that we've been looking for answers. God has touched our hearts and inspired us to get back under the constitutional principles that this nation was founded on. And we discovered an organization called CALZA. Many of us have stepped...
Which is a Mooney organization, which also was involved in the Iran-Contra affair, and the movement of funds to fund the Contras, But you know, it's all about my liberty, my Bill of Rights, my freedom of religion. It's bullcrap.
Crazy.
Forward and attended those conferences, and we thank God for them. We take a little heat from the press once in a while, but if we stand for anything in this nation, we've got to stand for individual rights and the freedom of our religion to choose that religion and those beliefs that we choose for.
And I agree with that. But the problem is, from a governmental standpoint, I agree with that. But the problem is Reverend Sung Mung Moon went to prison for income tax fraud, which I have problems with the income tax, but still, nonetheless, and conspiracy. And he's not even Christian. But they're going to defend him and say, oh, it's freedom of religion. Moon is an excellent guy. Trust him. Look at us, all of us here. He's fighting against the godless commies.
It kind of makes me think of the John Todd tapes where he was saying how they funded all these, Better Businessmen gospel and all these weird groups. It's like, what would join all these people together? Why would Tim LaHaye be with Sung Myung Moon, for crying out loud?
Yeah, like why would Falwell for Liberty University that was going bankrupt take money from Moon to keep his Christian university afloat? Knowing who Moon is.
It don't make no sense, man.
And Matthew 24:3-8, New American Standard Bible. As he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when these things happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And Jesus answered and said to them, "See to that one who misleads you. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will mislead many. You will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not frightened, for those things must take place, but it is not yet the end. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And in various places there will be famines and earthquakes, but all these things are merely the beginning of birth pangs."
And I'd like to point out, I've heard a lot of preachers point this out lately, but the word nation there is ethnos. And you see a lot of they're whipping up, racial tension. And I've noticed it's a lot of Masons whipping up racial tension. But so the word nation or the phrase nation shall rise against nation is ethnos shall rise against ethnos, or ethnicity shall rise against ethnicity. And you see the Masons doing the race bait game. I'd just like to point that out.
Yeah. It's and you talk about high level Masonry. High level part of the, same with, government of the world order pushes that too to cause tension. Bill Cooper spoke a lot about it. So next we have the intellectual dork web. Ben Shapiro claims that the Old Testament never predicted Jesus. Shapiro secretly despises Christians while placating them by saying our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Ben Shapiro is not #our guy.
Courtesy of Ben Shapiro, talking about the left side of our book, which is not separated from, but a part of the Bible. The Old and New Testaments fit together seamlessly. The Bible is elegant from Genesis to Revelation. Phil Johnson joining us to respond to Ben Shapiro, doing a debate, an interview with an atheist, Michael Shermer, explaining what he believes about Messiah.
Jesus the Messiah is a different figure than anything that exists inside Judaism. So when people say that Judaism predicts the coming of Christ, the change in the nature of what Christ is, what a Messiah would be, is different from Judaism to Christianity. So Judaism never posited that there would be God come to earth in physical form, and then acting out in the world in that way. Judaism posits that God is beyond space and time. Occasionally he intervenes in history, but he doesn't take physical form. It's one of the key beliefs of Judaism, actually, is an incorporeal God. So that means that the idea is actually foreign to Judaism of a merged God-man who is God in physical form, but then dies and is resurrected and all this.
Anything about Ben Shapiro real quick saying that? Free to capitalists before I play the rest of the clip, brother?
Well, yeah, you need to read the New Testament, Ben.
And you need to read the Old Testament too as well, and realize that the Old
Oh
Testament.
yeah, read Isaiah 53, Ben.
Yes.
Tell me who that is.
Read Isaiah 7:14 about Jesus being born of a virgin.
Exactly.
That the Son of God will be born of a virgin. I mean, there's countless. I mean, I can't. I'm trying to remember some more scriptures offhand that would But I mean, there are many. I mean, we could there's hours been devoted to Christian apologetics and proving that the Old Testament God is the same as the God of the New Testament, and Jesus Christ, the Divine Trinity. So yeah, Ben.
Isn't that crazy that they're I don't know which rabbis, but apparently the rabbis don't want them to read Isaiah 53. It's the forbidden chapter or something like this.
Doesn't surprise me.
Like oive and sheesh.
Again, he's talking about Jewish tradition, not the Jewish scriptures. I wish he could, sort of get away from the Jewish tradition and just look at the scriptures with fresh eyes. And
it kind of reminds me of an Eastern Orthodox folks.
Very much.
They quote the early church fathers more than the Bible.
Yeah, that's right.
Jay Dyer. Oh, sorry about that. I apologize. I had a little something caught my throat there. I'm sorry. Not to say that learning about the early church fathers and reading the early church fathers are not important. I'm not saying that at all. But yeah, I could see that a little bit in Dyer.
With rabbis.
That's right, and that's always been a problem in Judaism, and this is one of the things Jesus himself confronted when he scolded the Pharisees and said, you've used your tradition to nullify the Word of God. And that's exactly what you just heard in that clip, where he's saying the same thing those Pharisees would have said. Jesus can't be our Messiah because he doesn't fit the traditional Jewish view of what the Messiah is supposed to be.
Okay, so does the Old Testament point to some sort of God-man that would rescue people from their sins?
Well, all you have to do is read the first chapter of Hebrews to see that the Old Testament is full of references. They are sometimes shrouded in mystery.
Types and shadows. He's better Melchizedek, a better high priest,
right.
Better than the angels, etc.
Like all of prophecy, I think, is somewhat mysterious, so that you recognize it when it happens. You don't necessarily predict it ahead of time. You can't look at Bible prophecy and give dates and times and know exactly.
And typology is tricky. John Calvin said that God pratters to us. He gives us pictures like the Exodus. It's there's a picture in that of redemption. All right, I couldn't help but think about Isaiah 53.
Yeah, well, that's the key passage, actually. Yeah.
Let me just scan over this. He was despised, rejected by man, a man of sorrows, despised. He was borne our griefs, carried our sorrows. He was pierced for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. We like sheep have gone astray. He was oppressed and afflicted. We thought that he was dying for his own sins, but he was actually dying for the sins of his people. That verse tells us that at least this Messiah is going to be the atoner for sins.
Right, no question.
What other verses tell us in the Old Testament this?
Yep, there's more. I mean, come on, Ben. It's obvious, brother.
It's all about like the Jesus speaking of the word he held in his hand. He said, "These words testify of me." He's talking about the Bible. The whole Bible is all about Jesus.
Yeah, and that's why see many of these new apostolic preachers do eisegesis instead of exegesis, putting themselves in prophecy when it was really the Bible prophesizing about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to come in the Old Testament.
And it's Matthew 15:9. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Messiah would be God.
Well, I would think of, for example, Micah 5:2 is the famous passage that predicts Jesus' birth in Bethlehem. And it refers to him as the one whose goings forth have been from old, from everlasting. So he's an everlasting being born in Bethlehem. That's pretty clear, I think. And then Isaiah, the other Christmas prophecies, Isaiah 9:6, for example, he'll be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, and the Prince of Peace. Those are clearly titles of deity.
So again, Ben not reading his Bible as much as he's reading the rabbis, coming up with a completely different understanding of Messiah. Therefore, he rejects Jesus Christ, which is a huge bummer.
And as Fac said in the chat, Shapiro is just a repulsive character regardless of his beliefs. Yeah, he is. He is. He is.
He's pretty arrogant. And let me just throw in Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. So check that out. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, in Zechariah, Old Testament.
Yeah. Next we have freed captives Ravi Zacharias, who was a well-known Christian apologist. He went to be with the Lord, Abraham's bosom in paradise, last week. And he does have, he's in that nexus of the Council for National Policy, but he would be a person who, even though he has friends within them, like Dennis Prager, Ravi Zacharias is not a false teacher, from what I've seen of him. And my uncle talks a lot about him as a good Christian apologetic, Christian apologist, I guess would be the right way of saying it. But yeah, he definitely hears him talking to Ben Shapiro, challenging Ben Shapiro on why Jesus is the Son of God. You got anything you want to say in honor of Ravi Zacharias, captives?
No, I hope we all, press to do a good job and glorify the Father through Christ, and do what we can, like he dedicated his life to doing. That's what we should be doing.
Yes.
It never applies inwardly. Okay, so let's talk about an area where we disagree, and that is on the veracity of the New Testament versus the Old Testament. So let's start with some kind of the broader philosophical framework. What do you think that Christianity adds to the world that Judaism didn't in the first place?
First of all, I want you to know how proud I am to have friends like you and Dennis Prager, Michael Medved. I'll be back with Dennis again. I think I remember Dennis's comment when we were talking of this. It was brilliant what he said. He said, when Messiah comes, I will just have one question. Have you been here before? And I think that is what it'll really boil down to. I don't like to say the word add, because it seems like it is something superimposed that wasn't there. I think it was already there. And of course, my own upbringing was so different. It was like my ancestors were Orthodox Hindu priests generations ago, from the highest caste to the Hindu priesthood. I think it is that one verse, one line, that the moral law hangs upon. I am the Lord your God that brought you out of the land of Egypt. That redemption motif, I think it moved beyond the metaphor from Egypt, although it was real. It moved beyond the blood sacrifices, and it moved to the very person of the Son of Man that Daniel talked about, and the perfection of the law, which was not violated, but affirmed and endorsed. So what I see in the person of Jesus Christ are two very real things, Ben. Number one, it is the fact that he embodied that which was the purest that was called for by this very rigorous 613 system of laws that were given. And if you move down even to Habakkuk, which is then quoted 3 times in the New Testament, from 613, David reduced it to a handful, Isaiah reduced it even more, Micah brought it down to 3, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before your God. But the Habakkuk phrase of the just shall live by faith, which I understand is more correctly represented as by his faithfulness, that when you move into the person of Christ, two things happen. The law is honored and not debunked, but the relationship question, when you give the four propositions in your closing chapter, starting all the way from purpose and then in relationship. The most moving moment in your book is when you talk to your daughter. Okay, I loved it. I'm a grandfather of 5.
I do wish, though, that Ravi Zacharias, when he did speak to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints back in 2004, FTC, that he did harp on a little bit, just a little bit, on the many differences between the Latter-day Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and, standard Christianity. The deep and foundational differences between the church. So.
Yeah, I see that problem happening a lot with, say, like some really good preachers, say like a Derek Prince. He wouldn't call out Catholicism, for instance, or like who is the Bible Answer Man? He wrote Kingdom of the Cults. Walter Martin. He apparently gave the Seventh-day Adventists a pass. And it's like you can't. You're damning people by doing that. You got to call out error where it is, right? So. I think Ed Decker has some good stuff about Mormonism, if anybody wants info on that.
Yes. And let us finish with Ben Shapiro. This Ben Shapiro guy is a real jerk. 2,000 years ago, Ben Shapiro would have been right there yelling, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" with the Jews as Jesus was being crucified on the cross. The Talmudist Maimonides, huh? The Jewish philosopher, huh? Yeah. Miracles don't exist, bruh. Bruh. They don't exist, bruh. Jesus was a rebel, man.
1 John 2:22, King James. Who is a liar but he that denieth that Jesus is the Christ? He is an antichrist that denieth the Father and the Son.
Yeah.
It says that.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Shapiro, I have many issues with little Benji. Many people are well aware of Ben Shapiro's cons, except, at least, within, if you've been, awakened to the truth. I haven't met any conspiracy theorists that are like, Ben Shapiro, that's my guy. I'm pretty sure they do exist out there, though. But man, oh man, I cannot stand Ben Shapiro at all.
He's got that same look as Nick Fuentes, like they know more than you or something.
We're gonna get to Nick. So next we have the intellectual dork web, a lying Zionist misogynist, a man obsessed with bears, a sodomite and a grifter with grabbler issues that hates $1 donations. The best and the brightest the conservatives have to offer. So look, you got Mike Cernovich, who defends Alan Dershowitz and believes in the satanic panic narrative and defends William Pilham Barr. You have Owen Benjamin, and oh boy, Owen Benjamin's got a lot of problems, don't he? A lot of problems. Then you got Gavin McGinnis, used to work for the Rebel Media, and Vice. And you have
Yeah, I'd like
Stefan
to point out Vice Magazine.
$1 Molyneux. Go ahead.
Vice Magazine that brought in half the lumberjack wearing, stripper clothes wearing filth that we see. It's from Vice Magazine. Bunch of lumberjacks can't even use a chainsaw, basically.
So these are the new conservatives, the ones that we're supposed to look up to, man. These are the rebels, the true thinkers, the intellectuals.
The intellectual dark web.
I mean, they're all upstanding, people that are deep in self-reflection and are able to look at themselves in the mirror, right? Frida captives? They're really steeped in their Christian
Zionist
conservative...
misogynist.
I mean,
man obsessed with bears.
I mean, you could interchange them almost technically with any one of them, for that matter,
I'm seeing the Care Bears, is what I see. I see all four of them.
All right, so let's play a little bit for the Night of Freedom panel.
Wonderful.
We are going to start the podcast, so if everyone would kindly take your seat.
Ever, because I'm not going to, curse right now, but the biggest F you can give the world is to just do it, and to do it bigger than everybody else.
I'm Savage. I'm Mike Savage. I guess I shouldn't make fun of his list. That's not necessarily his fault, but I defend Alan Dershowitz and pedophiles, and I'm a rape apologist too as well. I mean, I'm just a downright swell guy. You Christians trust me, right? I love going on DMT cults and taking GABA analogs, just like Jordan Peterson. I'm Mike Senovich. I want to put a good forth that I was fighting for Virginia Roberts Guthrie. I was fighting for Virginia Roberts Guthrie. I was trying to get the information out there to the public and not try to legally bury Alan Dershowitz's involvement in the Epstein ring. I'm Mike Savage.
Let's get this man a press pass.
All these four people just,
And they have to pay attention, and they can't ignore it.
Just pull your mic in a bit more. Yeah. Speak right into the microphone. Make your mic have a Me Too moment.
Rape's funny. Rape's funny, am I right? It's hilarious.
He said me too.
Well, that's why I always, I was periscoping at the one venue, the guy who set us up. So for those of you, I don't want to belabor the whole thing just because it's such a bizarre story that if you told me, I would not believe it. But the first venue goes, oh yeah, no problem, no drama, everything's cool, don't worry about it. I go in, tour it, I'm with Shauna. He's like, oh yeah, everything is great, man, it's cool, can't wait to have you. And then I go, hey, can I give you a deposit? And he goes, man, your word is good here. I don't even need your money right now. And then I was like, whoa, come on, man. Nobody likes me that much, right? It's like that scene in The Sopranos where he's telling jokes and then everybody's laughing and he says, I'm funny, but I'm not that funny. So I laid down the 16 grand anyway. And then Thursday he starts adding all these weird passive-aggressive problems, and then I go, fine, we have another venue, and he goes, you don't need another venue, you can rest your head on your pillow and sleep well tonight.
Okay, so Owen Benjamin's thinking a lot. Gavin McInnes doesn't want to be there, and Stefan Molyneux could give two craps less. So it's very interesting to watch this roundtable, not only listen to it, but watch it, because Owen Benjamin's kind of like, oh gee golly willikers, I get to be around all these big truthers and people in the conservative right.
They're all just formulating.
They really like me, guys. They really like me.
You can see them all just formulating how to promote their brand. That's it. That's all they do. How do I promote my brand out of this? It's not about justice. It's about our brands, John.
Yes.
How do we promote our brand?
How do we conserve things that are night for freedom? Yeah. Next we have let's just play the clip of how well Milo Yiannopoulos and Gavin McInnes are friends.
Great man. Then you hear the
hate to argue with Gavin, but I don't think Frenching a guy is heterosexual. Might just be me. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit old-fashioned. Maybe I'm a conservative. And I don't think there's not anything heterosexual about that. And also, yeah, screw you, Islam. I'm gonna kiss Milo. It's like, you had to go to that? You had to go to that to really tell Islam to screw off? Really?
Man, he really showed... Wait a sec. Hold on. Something's not right about this.
Oh.
Might even say something's a little queer.
Just a little bit. So a good question I have to you, Free to Captives, is what are they trying to conserve? How is this showing the Muslims, putting them in their place? I mean, as a conservative, wouldn't you tell your ideological differences against Islam, or if you're Christian, your beliefs that Islam is an error? I mean, that's the first things that I would think of instead of just grabbing Milo Yiannopoulos and planning a very longer French kiss on him. Just saying, it was like a peck on the cheek, but even then, I mean, come on. But when you're deep-throating Milo Yiannopoulos, it's not really conservative anything there. Not really getting your point across.
Yeah. Wait. I don't understand.
I don't either. I can tell you, Free to Captives, if we ever meet up in public, this will not happen at all.
I'll fight you first.
I'm sorry if you want to, buddy, but we're not doing what Gavin... This is not how we're going to go speak to people who are Muslim about the errors in their beliefs. We're not going to do this when we do street preaching, brother, okay? I promise. We're not going to do this.
The only way this makes sense is that they are agents trying to undermine a movement. And they're doing... In that context, bang up job, gentlemen. Bang up.
Yes. You're right. Now, of course, to Steven Crowder, that boy ain't right.
Bobby?
Boy ain't right. Boy ain't right. Boy ain't right. Boy ain't right.
Steven Crowder will use any excuse to wear a dress. I mean, just any excuse. Just why not? Why not, Free to Captives? I mean...
I'm pretty sure every writing meeting they have is him just pitching ideas of how can we spin this, that at the end of it, I'm in a dress. And then the other writing staff have to kind of guide him away from that all the time, probably.
Stop, please, Steven. The liberals have been pwned enough. It's enough. You don't have to keep dressing in dresses, man. If you like drag, fine. Whatever floats your boat. But you're supposed to be a representative of Christian conservatism. If you want to dress in drag in your own house, fine, whatever.
He just owned the liberals, though. Do you see that?
Yeah.
When he does that?
Yeah, just owns them. Just owns them.
There's nothing they can do. What?
Now, how we have your clip from your excellent channel. Everybody listening should go subscribe on YouTube to Free to Captives. Smashing the left-right paradigm. Imagine thinking Alex Jones is a Christian. Huh. I mean, everybody says he has Free to Captives. I mean, he met Colonel Michael Aquino at a football game in Rockwall, Texas. I mean,
they were also both on Sean Stone's Buzzsaw.
Huh.
Fellow travelers.
Yes.
Один твой стоп, един твой дух, едино твое изменение. Позволь мне воспреть
Bruh.
образ шестиконечной звезды, сверкающей сквозь луну.
Yeah, this is. Huh. I wonder if Alex Jones would talk about this, right? Like be against it, right?
Oh yeah, he confronted him about it on the show. No, wait, he didn't.
Wait. You're telling me Alex Jones never confronted Alexander Dugin just like Jay Dyer didn't from interviewing him twice? And Alexander Dugin's connections to Orthodoxy being one of the old one? Oh, that would never happen. You're telling me Alex Jones and Jay Dyer are Russophiles? Oh, man. You're telling me that I should go move to Russia as a white conservative and come home white man? Are you telling me?
Wait a minute. Who
Free to
are
captives?
you?
You telling me that I should go over there because they're more Christian? They'll accept me with open arms. I just have to convert to Russian Orthodoxy? Come home white man to Russia? Really?
Yes, comrade.
Okay. My bad. I mean, my family's been here since the 1700s. Guess I should turn back on United States and all my fellow conservative Christian brethren here and go to Russia. Because Alex Jones and Alexander Dugin, the modern-day Rasputin, and Jay Dyer would like me to do so.
Yavor. Do it.
Says that he's a top advisor to Putin, but from my research, I'd say it's more like when the media says that I'm telling Trump what to do. That's not really what's happening.
The situation has a little bit changed, but very interesting. We're living in an important moment of the human history. Now, the initiative of to change the world is once more in the hands of America, in the hands of Trump. Russia has made a kind of introduction.
You're cracking me up with this music. Got this. Oh, man. Oh, Dugin.
He's a
you chaos
man.
magic magician, you horrible human being, you.
Very strong man. Lauren Southern likes him a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people that are supposed to be our guys and our gals, you know. A lot of them, the Christian conservatives. Man, I tell you what, many of the CMPers, they sure love Dugin and Russia. But Mother Russia!
How do you put the word Christian in your mouth and be hobnobbing with a Aleister Crowley worshiper type feller? There, buds.
Oh, now, that's not what Jay Dyer tells me, Free to Captains. He says Dugin is a complete pusher of all things that we believe in with our Christian values here in the West. Okay? Dugin would have no connections to Nazi occultism and no connections to the Black Sun and no connections and beliefs to Aleister Crowley and no connections and beliefs to communism. None of that. No. We're just crazy for believing all that because Russia is where white Christians believe in. Return home to Russia. Mother Russia, white man.
Are you sure the chaos magicians aren't using Greek Orthodoxy as a proxy against us?
Now, Free to Captives. I would not.
No, I read some stuff online, man. I'm just wondering.
Well, as Jay Dyer says, I'm a Fed. I'm the FBI. So.
Well, I know that.
Of course.
We already know that.
Of course. It's because I said Jay Dyer was in the nexus of the CMP and was a CMP apologist and a Russophile and a Dugin apologist. That made me a Fed. Hey, Jay, you were the guy who was studying under R.J. Rushdoony back in the late 90s, okay? So don't come and cast aspersions about me, dude. All right?
I know one thing. You got to call out Dugin as a Crowley type.
I will. You and I are going to do an episode on Dugin. We will.
He's a Crowley type feller, everybody.
We will. Communist, racist,
STF.
Alexander Dugin.
Or no, CTF. He's a Crowley type feller. I'm warning everybody. CTF. Crowley type feller.
Alright, let me finish your video, brother. He's just LARPing, Frida Captives. Dugan is just LARPing. He's just a master LARPer with his chaos magician, just like Crowley. He doesn't believe in anything he says. Dugan stands for our Christian values, our white ethno-state Christian values that we love and hold so dear.
You see, what he's playing like 17D chess. He's really showing by like stepping like so far ahead of the game. He's showing, basically like leading us into the future by saying like, here's the antithesis to us. Now work through it. He's actually doing us a huge favor, guys. I figured it all out.
Yeah, man, I cannot stop. I asked Jay in his Discord, will you do another video with Dugan and hold him to the mat and interview with him and actually press him on things that you want to distance yourself away from Duganism now? And Jay told me, why do I have to be the one to do it? Why me? Because you gave him a platform twice, Jay. That's why. That's why, Jay.
It's kind of like when I used to be a huge Alex Jones fan. I handed out all these DVDs, and I, promoted him. And then now that I see, he's not our guy, you want to go and at least try to make amends for that and say, I was wrong. I know it's a weird thing to say, right? I was wrong.
See, Jay's kind of like Fonzie. I was. All right, let's finish.
Okay.
Known to be an advisor to some of the most influential men in Russia. The Russian foreign minister, the second chairman of the state, the United Russia Party chief ideologist, and of course, President Vladimir Putin. Not only advising the Kremlin, but in 2008, Dugan became the head of the Department of Sociology of International Relations at Moscow State University. He's been pushing his ideology to Moscow's intellectual elite and young minds ever since. This is one of the most dangerous human beings on the planet today.
Who is that? Was that Glenn Beck? That wasn't Glenn Beck, was it?
Don't say anything about my Becky. My Glenn Becky.
Okay. That's interesting. He's exposing that side as the CMP. That's very interesting.
No, it is. Like, it's weird. Like, Beck actually will expose the odd real thing. But obviously he's a Mormon and
sometimes a Mormon gets
playing the game.
Well, I mean, it's CMP interwars. He might not like Duganism, but that don't mean Glenn Beck's hashtag our guy. I mean, he's not. I mean, let's be real.
No.
But, so next we have Nick Fuentes, America First Media. Nick Fuentes is not whom you think he is. With Nick Fuentes' hot date with Catboy Kami, hot in quotation marks, are these Christian values? Is this Christian values, Frida Captives?
We're tabulating the results. We're not sure yet.
Okay, so let's go see Nick and Catboy Kami have a little bit of fun together. I mean, look, 10 hours of fun, might I add.
I was gonna pick you up at like noon or 1, and then I just kept like watching videos. I watched a lot of videos about dinosaurs. People would give me shit about. I said I don't believe in dinosaurs, so I was doing some research on that. Watching like some, and then I just got sucked in, and then I was watching videos about the end times and about Noah's Ark and wars and stuff.
So you've looked at the data. What do you think about the dinosaurs now, then?
So I guess so they're real, but
this is a guy just, you know, like, this is a date. They're looking at each other like Nick Fuentes is getting. This is a date. This is a date.
The intellectual, like, just immenseness going on. Well, apparently dinosaurs are real.
I don't need Bombard to do her body language. This is a date.
Oh yeah.
If I've ever seen one, this is a date.
Yerp.
Let's continue for a little bit longer.
He lives with people. That was the takeaway.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did my research. Because I said on the show, in a very tongue-in-cheek way, I'm like, yeah, I find it hard to believe that dinosaurs are real. And all these fucking people get on my case. They're like, oh, well, you don't believe in dinosaurs. He doesn't even. Oh, wait, you don't believe in dinosaurs? And it's so funny to me because that's exactly the intended reaction. Like, I don't care about dinosaurs. I'm going to put the heat on so I'm getting fogged up a little bit. Yes. I don't care about dinosaurs. I don't know anything about dinosaurs. And I said, even on the show, I said, yeah, they probably were real. I said, when I think about it, it just seems like outlandish to me. I said, I just find it hard to believe. Are we not allowed to say that? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, look, now they're going to go get some food after they had a nice, pleasant date conversation in the car. And they're flirting with each other. This is just something, you know, the Christian conservative Nick Fuentes, America First. I mean, yeah, 10 hours of Cowboy Commie, flirting, eating food. This is just him having a conversation with this guy, right? You know, just pressing him. Huh.
You just fucked my chips. You know the reason why that's this idea that's been brought to the zeitgeist, right? It's to stop men from making relationships because we're dangerous.
This isn't a relationship. Okay, this isn't like what's the name of it? When men are just friends, there's a specific term for it.
Platonic.
Yeah, but there's another term for it too.
Oh.
This isn't like you and your best friend, you know, driving to go get some food and then stopping.
Word friends is what we're looking for.
Yeah, you know, stopping by the arcade, you know, and playing some video games and be like, "I'll see you later, bro." You know, they're like longingly looking in each other's eyes. All right, I mean, this is a date. This is a date.
And we've tabulated the results. Apparently, no, it isn't.
And look, they also go clothes shopping. I've never been clothes shopping with another dude. It's just like it's just like Red said in that '70s show. It's weird when a dude gives you shoes as a gift. All right, I ain't going shopping with my bros down at the clothes store and trying stuff on. That shit ain't happening.
It's a bromance, like Stan said in the chat. It's a bromance.
Yeah, I mean, this is worse than a bromance. I mean, he's like, look, it's like, you know, I'm gonna buy Catboy Commie this jacket. Look how I guess it's just, what is this? This is not.
It's actually, I don't know what this is. That's how, like, what is this, guys?
So
this is what guys and girls do.
Yeah.
And the guy doesn't want to go. Usually.
You know your girlfriend drags you, you know, to try on clothes, and if you're lucky, she goes to try on lingerie or something, you know, something for you for later, you know. Your wife, I mean, it is what it is, you know. But the thing is, with this, it's like, what is this? This is a date. I mean, if Nick Fuentes was honest and he's like, yeah, I'm homosexual and it's a date, I'd be like, well, okay, I mean, look, I wouldn't say, you know, put you out as American First Conservative Christian, but fine, whatever, your prerogatives, man. But to sit there and say, I'm Nick Fuentes, and I'm fighting against everyone who's fighting against Christianity, and America First, man, and it's just like, oh, what the?
And all his railing against sodomy, but you're on a date with a cat boy, bro.
Nick Fuentes is not whom you think he is. Are these Christian values? Titus Frost. About 5 minutes ago, I trolled Nick Fuentes so bad on DLive regarding him promoting Catboy Commie, the online child groomer. He forgot to open the chest and ran from his stream without rating a single super chat from me. Hashtag Fuentes got raided. Bad. Why not disavow pedo cat boy Nick? Of course, I said Fuentes has connections to the Council for National Policy. He's friends with Jacob Wall and CMP Ali Alexander. He's in deep shit. Keep pressing. Let me know how I can help. And of course, Catboy Kami, who's banned from Twitter. I'm glad they actually banned a groomer. Imagine that. They actually banned a groomer. Twitter did. Problem with the female sexual attractiveness versus age study in behavioral therapy that was done in 1995. And there's an in-depth video of him grooming girls, asking that he could lick their feet. Catboy Kami isn't a phebophile, a pedophile, and a groomer, and a just downright horrible human being that Nick Fuentes still, instead of admitting it, being like, yeah, I'm homosexual, yeah, I had a thing for Catboy Kami, but he's a pedo, and I detest that, I had no idea. Silence. Crickets. It's like he didn't even happen. It's like Catboy Kami doesn't even exist. And you also, who else went on a date in the convention and was in the same, filmed being in the same hotel room as Catboy Kami? Baked Alaska. Is Catboy Kami a Catboy escort for all of these alt-right people? Frida Captus?
Yikes. It's 2020, man.
Yeah. Matthew 8:6, King James Version. But whoever shall offend one of those little ones which believe in me, it will be better for him that a millstone were hanged around about his neck, and that he would drown in the depth of the sea, than for God to get hold of them. Remember, Nick Fuentes is not whom you think he is. Charlie Kirk versus Nick Fuentes, fake rivalry, CMP versus CMP. There's Nick Fuentes with his good friends, Ali Alexander, Bake Alaska, Kathy Shu, Jacob Wall.
Could there be more to the story?
Well, of course. Charlie Kirk, what is he conserving? Charlie Kirk versus Nick Fuentes, fake rivalry, CMP versus CMP. Charlie Kirk on Twitter, 0.6% of the population identifies as transgender. Democrats' Equality Act wants to uproot the Civil Rights Act of 1964 so that 0.6% can use any locker room they like, use any bathroom they like, compete in women's sports, all without any enforcement to stop predators or liars. Huh. And Charlie Kirk, now granted you don't look happy about this, nonetheless, why did you pose with Lady MAGA? If you're so against transgenderism, what are you conserving, Charlie Kirk?
Isn't the terms centrist or no populist? Just appealing to the everybody's trans, so you gotta kind of, I guess no. Is there a line they won't cross? Where is their line?
Is there anything you got in close? Now, this is our first stream on conservatives. We will have many, many more. This is just to scratch the surface. Next week, we plan to interview, hopefully, if all things go well, a good friend of mine who's going to give us testimony, and we're going to discuss creationism. Is there anything you want to discuss about conservatives before we close Frida Captives? You have the floor, my good sir.
Yeah, it's about time we stop. Basically, it's worship. It's man worship is our problem. We're looking to all these people to save us, Daddy, save us. And it's about time, you stand up. You be that man. You be that woman. You be that person. Instead of looking to these people, because look what it gets us every single time. It seems like we're being shot in the foot by putting our trust in these idols. These men as idols, right? And then the Bible says, cursed is the man that trusts in man and makes flesh his arm, and his heart departs from the Lord. So hopefully take that to heart, and God bless everybody.
On the 4th episode of Spirit of Truth, the conservatives Frida Captives. I'm glad we are finally able to start chipping away at the supposed Christian right of the CMP, who claims that they believe in Christian values, but instead they are hypocrites to the highest order. in many of what they espouse. Have a good day, brother. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too, bro.
Bye.
Peace, everybody.
All right, everybody. God bless you. Till next time. Take care.
If you walk through the garden, you better watch your back. Well, I beg your pardon, walk a straight and narrow track. If you walk with Jesus, he'll save your soul. You gotta keep the devil down in the hole. He's got the fire and the fury at his command. Well, you don't have to worry if you hold on to Jesus' hand. We'll all be safe from Satan when the thunder rolls. You gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. All the angels sing about Jesus' mighty soul, and they shield you with their wings, keep you close to the Lord. Don't pay heed to temptation, or his hands are so cold. You gotta keep the devil way down in the hole. Way down